get up. Gotta get up, gotta get up, gotta get up. And time won't take my love away.
Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of LGBTlife. I'm Mick FitzGerald and today we're delighted to have as our guest in the studio a very esteemed musician, Achenbach. So, Aaron, welcome to LGBTlife.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yeah. Aaron, now I'm going to have to start off at the beginning and saying, Aaron Achenbach, would you be one of the Achenbachs of Armagh, or was that a showbiz name?
Achenbach probably from Armagh. One of the Achenbachs from Armagh, definitely, because being from Belfast, so that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Well, it comes from Germany.
Well, no, I'm just wondering because you see, when I ever think of the name Achenbach, I think of Thomas Mann, I think of Death in Venice. I mean, is it a homage to or was it just a nice name that you came across?
It's my mother's actual name.
Is it?
My mother's maiden name.
My word. Yeah.
So I just like the name, and I'm using it as my professional name.
Absolutely. Well, that's even better. You can slap me for being so dismissive because I do think it's a fabulous name.
Yeah,
I mean, even when it was in the movie, I still thought it was a fabulous name.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, are you a fan of the movie, or have you seen it, Death in Venice?
It's been a while. I'm a big fan of movies, but if you showed me a scene from it, I will tell you whether I've seen it or not. But putting the name to the movie, I'm not a great name because I'm dyslexic, so it's very bad for names. So
basically, it was quite controversial at the time because Gustav Achenbach, who was apparently based on Mahler, was played by Dirk Bogarde, who was one of the most courageous people of his day because he was the first actor to ever come out. And because he fell in love with a young boy, people thought, "Ooh, this is not on." But no, as I say, it's a great movie. Give yourself an opportunity to enjoy it.
Definitely, yes, I know.
So you come from Belfast.
Belfast originally, living down here most of my life, like decades or so, apart from a stint abroad for a bit and stuff with different bands and touring and things they had with different groups,
How do you find it? I'd be interested to hear how you find it, because if you were from Cork, I'd be automatically thinking, I can understand why you'd be coming to Dublin, but there was always an interesting, as I say, relationship between Belfast and Dublin. It was almost like it was equal in that sense of the word.
Yeah.
Some things we did better, other things we would acknowledge, not necessarily loudly, but we would acknowledge that Belfast did better.
Yeah.
Is the same, to a certain degree, respect there, or?
Yeah, I say so. I say there's respect there because they're the two. Being from Belfast myself, I would see them as the two major cities in Ireland. I know a lot of people from Cork wouldn't like that, or from Galway wouldn't like that, but I see them as the two major hubs, especially Dublin, because I'm down here, as I say, decades now and stuff,
Yeah, well, leaving Rory Gallagher aside, who actually came from Donegal, I would have said that the two great music and centres in Ireland, certainly in my period of time, were Dublin and Belfast. Is that something you'd... you
got Belfast, you got the north anyway, and you got bands like SLF and bands like that, it all came from there, then down the south, of course you got the U2s and things like that. But I would consider, in my music career, the bands I would have came across would be mainly from Dublin, mainly from, bands that I would have worked with.
Sure, On that basis, I appreciate it's a while since you've lived there, but when I came back from living in Australia, I was quite surprised to a certain degree that Dubliners, and particularly Irish people, we love local musicians. In fact, we probably prefer local, truth be known, we prefer local musicians to international musicians. As I say, it depends on the market. But
it depends on the market. You got Arthur's Day, and then they seem to have a lot of international acts and not local acts on the major bills and stuff. Yes,
well, we always just put that down as Alcohol Day.
There you go.
So, do people still respect bands like Stiff Little Fingers and Them and other?
I do.
Yeah,
I think they're great. I think they're fantastic. I remember one Christmas, mad out of it.
Yeah.
Stiff little fingers on, alternative Ulster, and a bottle of Blue Label.
Yeah. Again, and it's because I was living in London during what we would call the punk era.
Yeah, I like punk. Yeah.
And although we had bands here at the time, I dismissed Bob Geldof. I mean, he was just being Bob. But whenever I looked at punk.
Yeah.
Belfast was, or Northern Ireland was where I looked to. I didn't
yeah.
really look to, okay, you had Radiators and a couple of bands like that here.
Yeah.
But generally, I looked to Belfast. And again, interestingly, when we come along 20 years later, and we looked at dance music, again, I found much more of a lively or a much more dynamic scene in the north as well.
Well, it brings out the artists and people, I think, things like what's Belfast has gone through in my lifetime, say, like, you know what I mean, since the mid 60s. It brings out the people who are creative and the artists, like, you know what I mean, always find a way of dealing with the madness going on around them, if you know what I mean. You know, that kind of way. It brings something out. You either put it into constructive or you put it into destructive. You know what I mean? Like, of course, you're always going to have people that will put it into destructive, but the artist will always put it into something constructive. You know?
How did that happen at live? How did that manifest itself, if you like, at live gigs? Were they what I would call non-sectarian in that sense of the word, or would a loyalist go and see that band and the nationalist see another band?
No, I think true artists, like, no, they don't even think that way. Yeah. It's all about the music and the art, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you should say that, because I had a friend called Desi, and Desi loved happy hardcore. If you remember happy hardcore. About Scooter and all those really what I call crystal meth bands. The only place Desi could get it was up the north, and
the crystal meth or the hardcore?
Probably both. But what he was saying is that you went up there and all the gigs were controlled by the loyalist paramilitaries. So was the gear. But they loved him because there he was, prepared to go into the lion's den.
Well, you know, like, you're always going to have that kind of scene, like, you know, if you know what I mean. But for me, it's all about being creative, and the music, like, you know, it has to come from your heart and soul, like, you know what I mean, you know. And a lot of people outside of the scene would think that, it's all about the lifestyle and the drugs and all this stuff, but to me it's like that's not where I'm coming from.
Well,
like,
I suppose that's in many respects you would see it the way somebody on the football pitch. You'd be the player. The spectators always see it differently. They see the scarves, the jerseys, the replica,
and a few pints down the pub while they're watching the match. While you're spending hours training and you're keeping yourself fit and stuff for the game. And that's the way I look at myself: keep myself fit for the game. That is the music. And be training, and all the other people see when they listen to your music is, you know, having a few spliffs or getting out of their head, listening to your music and stuff, you know.
Yeah, well, it's
interesting. Good at go and do that.
Well, it's interesting because that's what I would distinguish between a musician and what I would call a celebrity. Because I always remember it would have been about 1968. Bob Geldof gave one of the most memorable quotes of why he got into music, because I remember Bob Geldof in the 60s in Ireland, and the idea of him as a musician was about as much likely as me being a mountaineer or an astronaut. But they asked him why did he get into music, and he was brutally honest. He said, to get rich, to get famous, and to get laid. And Bob, you succeeded brilliantly. It's just that your music was probably
not. Yeah.
Well, I'd say disposable is the polite way of putting it. Yourself, Aaron, you're a serious musician, and you play bass.
I play double bass and electric bass. I've got about 5 instruments at home. My acoustic double bass is like 170 odd years old. You know, it's 1850.
Thank God we didn't ask you to bring it down here today on a warm
I
day.
only use that for like when I'm doing special sessions and things like that. Especially, I think the last time I used that was in Windmill when I was recording an album with a band a couple of years ago and stuff like that, you know, which was a nice session, like, you know. But I've done a lot of sessions with different bands and different musicians, but this stuff that I'm working on at the moment that I've been writing with my good friend Deanna Alexandria, you know. I bring the music to the project, and she sings, so she's bringing the voice and the lyrics to it. So it's a partnership we have there when we're writing, you know, that kind of way, you know.
Was it always bass, or did you play 6-string or 12-string even?
Not really, no. I think my first instrument was like a 6-string Spanish guitar.
Yeah, that's fair
But that
enough,
lasted about 6 months when I was about 12 years old. My granny bought it for me, and I went into town to get an... You know, she wanted to buy me a new guitar, and I seen the bass there, and I said, I'd actually rather have a bass, like, you know. And she wanted me to walk out of the shop with it under my coat.
What else are grannies for?
There's no way.
Yeah. What we're going to do now, Aaron, we're going to play one of your pieces here. It's called Transition. Just talk us through this.
Yeah.
What was the background to Transition?
Well, the album that we're putting together is called Skinsuit, and it's about if Deanna was here, she'd explain probably more than I would. But for me, the album's about all these trappings that people have in their lives. You know what I mean? When you take all that away, all you have is the skin you're in, and you're inside your skin, you know what I mean? Your skin suit. So this whole transition thing is about getting in touch with who you are as a person, and not what the trappings you put on yourself as a person. That kind of way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Where is it being produced, or where is it being
I'm
recorded?
doing it in my own studio that I've been putting together over the last year or so. It's a home studio, but I've been. I have enough experience within the business to know what I'm doing on it, you know what I mean, and how to put a studio together. And we're basically recording it there. It's still like, we're still tweaking things here and there, but it's, it's coming there. And we're taking it. The good thing about having your own studio, on a time limit. Yeah. Because time is money in a studio,
Okay, well, let us go over to Heather there. We will play Transition. So this is Transition featuring Aaron Achenbach and Deanna Alexandria. Over to you, Heather.
All this, you more.
Yes, that was transitioned by Achenbach and Deanna Alexandria, and Heather nearly caught me stepping out of the shower without a towel around me in a radio sense of the word. But Erin, tell us, transition. What's that about?
Well, it's about as I said, the album is called Skinsuit, and you know, if Deanna was here, she would actually explain it a lot better. She actually wrote the lyrics. I just write the music and stuff for it.
Just write the music. Don't be modest.
And play the music and
do the production and the bass
and throw the tantrums as well and stuff. When things aren't going right. But no, to me it's about, because the album's called Skinsuit, so it's about you know, taking off all these trappings, you know what I mean, that society throws on you and stuff, and the hegemony of the whole thing, and then just getting down to who you are inside your skin, because that's all we are. It's a suit that we wear. The person on the inside, you know, is you know who you are inside this suit of clothes and stuff, or you know who you are, with that kind of. So it basically, I'm probably not making sense, but it basically comes from that idea and stuff. You know,
Okay.
stuff, you know.
Well, dare I say it then, and I was just slightly diverge. 22nd of May, did we all come into contact with our skin suits? Were we all a bit naked on that particular day?
On the 22nd of May?
Yes.
Probably, yeah. I probably, yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. That was a great day. I think, you know, I was gigging that day, that evening, and Deanna came to the gig. I was gigging with a friend of mine, and I just said, right, I have to go into town on this day, because this is
It's a once in a lifetime.
historic day.
Yeah.
You know, and it was actually as big as Pride, you know. I mean, I was the places I was going to around the Cable Street.
They were blocked off.
Oh,
weren't they?
totally! It's as big as Pride, so was it? Like, you know, the whole vibe, and the vibe was brilliant. So it was the streets.
Well, as an artist, then, Erin, I mean, one of the things I'm saying, because I was at the castle that day, and whenever I just think back on it, I still get a buzz. You know, it's like doing those things that we shouldn't do. But anyway, one of the great hopes I have, because for people of my age, I'll be too old, you know, in 20 years' time. Anyway, but more to the point, what I'm hoping is that it's going to be a great artistic flowering, that suddenly, instead of saying, well, we're going to change this law or that law, we're going to rely on people like yourself and Deanna and the artists and the writers and the filmmakers, and dare I say it, maybe even RTE, but that's what I'm hoping we get out of this. That's it's equality of opportunity, it's equality of esteem, a whole range of things, and that's why, as I say, I was very keen to share some of the music with people. How do you feel about that? Is that
yeah, I could see like the creativity jumping in people, and you know, because of what's been going on in art, especially Ireland. I mean, art has changed so much in the last 20 years,
isn't it?
You know, 10, 20 years, like you know. But at the same time, the bohemian in people, like, you know what I mean, the whole the bohemian kind of life, you know, that kind of way. Now that you know, laws and things are being more relaxed, it takes something away from the bohemian, the creativity, the kind of, you know, on the side of society kind of.
We need a bit edgy.
Yeah, because once things become into the mainstream, it loses something, you know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
But after saying that, it's a great thing. What happened on the 22nd, you know, that kind of way and stuff, you know.
Well, it's funny.
But I think there's going to be a new Bohemia probably.
A different one, yeah.
A different one,
or an
exactly,
evolved one. Well, it's funny.
Yeah.
I was at an event on Friday night where David Norris was being interviewed and talking away, and he was saying something similar to what you were saying. He was saying a friend of his was an old doctor, and he was saying, well, you know, once it became legal, it wasn't as exciting anymore. And I felt like saying to him, well, if you want a bit of excitement, just take up smoking ganja.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
then you'll get chased around again.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So, I mean, in many respects, I mean,
there's always something you would love to do, or it's like, that's not legal.
There's a load of things that they would chase us for, won't they? You know, and as I say, you know,
just
just
out of life.
well, I always say, Lord, be with us when they start accepting us. You know, at that stage, you think, well, what are we doing wrong here?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, tell us about the professional life then, Erin. Do you play much around Dublin? Where might people go and expect to see Erin Achenbach?
Well, I do sessions, and at the moment I'm doing a lot of you know, my main thing is recording sessions with different bands. I did a session or a couple of about a month ago for the equality referendum with Keir Sedane.
Okay.
I played double bass on the song People Get Ready.
People,
you know,
yes,
that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And when I was playing that, because I've done sessions like that over like decades, I've been in sessions like that, and I was looking around the room, and you know, all these other players there, brass section, all this kind of stuff, and I just felt, a light bulb went off in my head. I said, I don't want to be doing this anymore. I just don't want to be playing other people's music. I want to start playing my own music and singing my own song, that kind of way and stuff. So that was basically, the light bulb moment, for me. And it's not just it happened last month. It was building up over the last couple of years with me. That kind of, that urge of getting something out. You've got something to say as well.
You want to leave a legacy rather than just appear.
Or leave Lego rather than a legacy. A couple of bricks there, there's me.
So if I could ask you
to
a certain degree, I mean, one of the things, particularly over the last 20 years, and I've seen it, is that you'll get bands there, and they're usually one fairly dominant guy, and he'll probably play the keyboards, or he'll play the guitar.
Singers.
And he'll have his best mate, who's probably richer, and he'll be on the drums. But what they'll bring in, and the band I'm thinking of was JJ72. They had an absolutely gorgeous looking bass player who's one of my neighbours. She couldn't play bass to save her life. How do you feel about that, where you get what I would call the image bass player? Because you're a professional, I mean, and I'm just listening to your sound. Or do you think, well, that's just the industry?
Well,
the chances are when they get to the record, they'll use you.
Well, hopefully, thanks. Give us a job or something. But I know what you're saying. There is that out there, and I mean, I don't knock that at all.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of players out there, especially young players coming up, which are fantastic players. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of, that. It's like they're trying to say something, but they're saying they're muddling up with all these words. When all you can just do is say 3 or 4 words, and you say more. Play 3 or 4 notes, but say more of those 3 or 4 notes than trying to play 100 notes at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, I mean, how do you feel then? I mean, am I being a bit cynical or even being a bit smarmy in the sense that I say to people, and I'm not being trying to be superior or anything. My and your generation, to a lesser degree, we got a lot of the great songs. Was it because the field was that fresh for ploughing at those days, or when it went from rock and roll to what I would call modern rock, or
well, it's gotten very commercial. It's like
has the industry taken it control again?
When the industry was young and about sticking one to the man in the suit, the man in the suit has taken over. You know what I mean? Now it's the man in the suit is pulling all the strings. And people that are great art, especially when you look at those kind of talent shows on TV like X Factors and all this. I don't watch them either. Thank God. I have to admit, I don't watch them. But those kind of shows, they're telling people you don't have it, and those people are telling they don't might have something that's special, rather than this corporate crap. Sorry for saying crap, but corporate crap or something.
Corporate rubbish.
Corporate rubbish or something.
We're gonna rock along, Aaron. You've got a second song here, and I want to play this for the listeners before we go on. It's called Framed. Tell us about Framed. Tell us what's the.
It's a blues kind of tune that's been rattling around in my head for the last while. It basically the songs develop from the bass line in the song, because it's just a blues. When I'm playing with blues bands,
very, very
it's amalgamation of a few kind of riffs I've had, and I threw them together and started jamming it one day. Put a bit of I play all the instruments on the music, but I play a bit of piano in this, and I'm very I'm happy enough with my piano playing, because it's very basic, but it sounds lovely or something. I must admit that it's but it's based around a blues anyway. It's a groove and it's very trippy.
Okay, let's give that a run anyway. This is Framed by Aaron and Deanna. Yes, that's just a taste of Framed by Aaron Achenbach and Deanna Alexandria. Before we run out of time, Aaron, tell people how they can find out some more, how they can find out where you're playing.
Well, at the moment we're working on our debut album, Skinsuit, but you can find us on Facebook, on our Facebook page, our band page, which is Dear Bertrand.
Dear Bertrand,
Bertrand.
Dear Bertrand, that's the word.
Yeah, Dear Bertrand.
You playing anywhere soon?
At the moment, we're just, as I say, we're just writing and recording. The album hopefully will be finished soon and stuff like that. But on a personal thing, I'm just doing sessions when they come in and things like with different bands.
Okay, and people will probably see you at Pride?
Probably.
Yep. Anyway, we're going to have to run off. Thanks to Heather on the desk. And don't go anywhere because Thomas Bogan will be coming up with Dublin Edition. I'm Mick Fitz and I will be back in a week's time. But we will see you at Pride if you do turn up this coming Saturday. Take care.
Gonna get up, gonna get up, gonna get up. Gonna get up, gonna